Jeff, thanks for being on the
Hello.
podcast with us.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to join you
Thank
and
you.
be part of what your movement of what you're doing and your books.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
excited
Very
about that.
much. It's
Yeah.
fun to see you on the video because we've only ever met, vocally. We've been
Yes.
working together for, I guess it hasn't been quite a year. I was just trying to think. I think we started releasing with you like last spring. Is that right?
Yeah. After the event in Colorado,
Yeah.
Pat and I connected.
Yeah.
So it probably was like February, March. We started in the spring.
Yeah.
You were still in.
We were still in Salt Lake back then.
Salt Lake. Yeah.
Yep. So tell everybody what you do. I mean, you're on here to
Sure.
talk about you can talk about your personal life a little bit too, because
sure.
it's all combined together.
All part. Yeah. So I live outside of Philadelphia in Media, Pennsylvania, with my partner Kim, and we've been together 8 years.
Congratulations.
It's gone great. Yeah, some ups and downs, but it's all moving forward, which is really good.
Very good.
And we're aligned in terms of wanting to grow is the biggest thing for me and for her, is that to grow together through the ups and downs. I'm sure, I know it's in your book, and to stay together and go through the ups and downs and to keep learning and evolving as individuals. And then that makes it more interesting and more fun to be as a couple. So that's been part of, and we both are on the same path in terms of transformation. She's been doing release techniques since I met her, because on our third date, I said, this is what I do, so you might as well check it out. So you may think it's weird. So she came to my house, and I had about 20 people. I wasn't leading back then, and my friend of ours was leading. So she sat down, and we'll do a process in a minute where we did we call kinesthetic release, where you sort of just let go of tension. And so she sat there for about 20 minutes, did the release, and then the teacher said, anybody want to share? She goes, yeah. She said, well, I always thought that I'm pretty relaxed and, I'm pretty even keeled. But I just realized when walking around, and we say 0 to 10 tension with like a 5 tension all the time. And now I'm at a 0. It feels like I'm a different human. I didn't know I was walking around with that tension. I thought that was normal. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, I really want to do this. So that was sort of the beginning of her saying, okay, this sounds like a pretty good thing. This guy's not that crazy. Maybe it's something good.
So tell us a little bit about the concept of releasing, because
Sure.
before I like met you and we did some of these exercises, the only releasing I knew of was like at the end of a massage.
Yeah.
Okay, the happy ending.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If you're a lucky boy.
Yeah. So release technique goes back to a gentleman in northern New Jersey named Lester Levinson. He was a physicist. He was an inventor, brilliant guy who studied a lot of different things, but at 42 was very ill and suffered a lot of different illnesses, and was told that he had a couple weeks to live. He had a good heart. And this is the 50s when they didn't do operations. So he went back to his apartment in North Jersey and said, I don't want to die. What is wrong with me? Why? I'm a smart guy. I'm highly educated. I'm highly motivated. I'm successful. I'm sick. There's something really wrong. So he started to examine his life, and he started to look at all the ways he was wanting people to love him, wanting people's approval, wanting love, and started letting go of that, so intuitively. And then he came to the conclusion that if he was loving, that everything was sort of good, it would work. And then he saw that he wanted to change everything, his family, his girlfriends, his world, his clients. He wanted to change in the world, and he realized that was a lot of stress. So he let go of wanting to control that for almost a month. And then finally he let go of the fear of death, fear of losing, death, and after a couple of months, he went into a high state. I was totally healed, lived another 44 years. And after about 8 years of being in this very high state, he decided that he would come down and start teaching the method, how he did it intuitively, how he let go. And he let go of a lot of unwanted feelings. And he said, we have, 30, 40, 50,000 thoughts a day, but we have these feelings that are at the source of them. And if we can learn to start letting go of the feelings, then we can move into quiet. We can move into peace. So once he started to teach it, people followed him. He lived to the late 80s, and then he passed it on more formal to teachers who now teach a specific process which he created a long time ago. And there's different ways to release, but it's all basically getting down to letting go of a couple things, letting go of fear, letting go of resistance. I don't want to do something, don't tell me what to do. And really letting go of wanting, desiring, wanting. And people were wanting all the time. So those are the things that we work on. And, one thing we look at is how we deal with a feeling, at a very fundamental level. This gets back to my own experience. Looking back at my life, I was successful. I learned a lot of transformational things in my 20s, 30s, 40s. But came to the end of my 40s, and I was struggling with a couple things. Business went downhill, made a bad decision. My girlfriend left. I thought we were going to get married. My daughter got very ill with an illness that her mother had. I had 2 kids I was raising, and I was all of a sudden full of anxiety. I'm like, what happened? How did this happen? And depression. I couldn't sleep. So I'm like, this is not good. And I was in total denial. I just kept me. I'm just going to fight through it. This is what I learned. You just fight through the fear. And
I think that's what we're all taught, aren't we? Just like grin and bear it, isn't that?
Fight through it. So really with an emotion, we talk about really 4 options. One is to suppress it. Don't get angry, don't get sad, push it down, which is what I was taught how to do really well.
But we're really good at that too.
Yeah. So, and then or escaping, doing this, drinking this, that, working, watching TV, drinking, drugs, all the things we escape from.
Yeah, we do that too.
So you can express.
We do.
Which is a little bit better. Express is a little bit better, but people don't like all the expression all the time. I'm angry. Or you can release it. So I tell people, so I was really good at suppressing it. And it wasn't until I went to the depression that I really got to the source of it. I tried all kinds of medications that really didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And I met someone said, I can teach you how to do it. I'm like, okay, give it a shot. Nothing else working. So what I learned was essentially, a feeling. What I was doing with the feeling was like pain or fear or anger, was just holding on to it like really tight. Like, I wish it went away, this pain, this depression. I wish, my fear went away. Damn, I really hate it. And the fist is still wrapped tightly around it. So what I learned was to actually feel the fear and then let it go. And instead of saying no, saying yes to it, experiencing yes to it. And it is experiential. So those of you listening, it's not going to matter unless you get an experience of it. It's sort of like saying, let me tell you how to go ski down a black diamond. You never skied before. You go, okay, give me all the information. It's not working. You got to feel it, right? So when I finally felt I could release fear, it's like, wow, I can really let this go. So my fear of going back to depression sort of went away. I got to the source of it. So that was the beginning of my learning. And then I kept doing it. I did some retreats, and then I became a teacher after about 8 years of doing it. And it led to me teaching people and coaching and having be part of my life, really.
Well, and this is I'll just give a testimonial. You, before my TEDx talks, I really felt like I was drowning in fear. Like I didn't know how I was going to get through the day before my TEDx talks. And the releasing that you did with me was very powerful. And of course we did that, then I participated in the workshop. Thank you for letting me know. But it's changed the way I think about feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. So it really, so let me just give you a little guided release to show people a little bit how a simple way of releasing that I'll guide you through for a few minutes, if that's okay.
Awesome.
And those of you listening can just sort of close your eyes and go along with us. So just take a minute here and close your eyes. And everybody go inward. And start by just taking a deep breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And just go inside and see where you're feeling any tension in your body. Any tension, just notice the tension. And perhaps give it a number, 0 to 10, 10 being very high tension, and 0 being no tension. Just feel that tension, allow it to be there. And then imagine a window right in front of that tension. Open the window, let all that tension flow out. And more, and more, and even more. And just notice what you're experiencing just by the one release. Now go back in again, see where that tension, dis-ease is. Open the window, or you can see it as a teapot. Let all the energy flow out. And more, and even more. And just notice what you're experiencing. It's all an experiential. It's not right or wrong. What you experience is just it's always your experience. You can open your eyes now. So, how was that experience?
It was good.
Yeah. Very simple. And you can do that when you're driving in the car and the traffic hits. You can do that when someone calls you and starts giving you a hard time, or someone's angry at you. It's just a simple energetic release, letting go of all that energy. Just think of, we have a chart in releasing that shows the energy it takes to hold feelings down. So when we're in tension, or maybe you call it fear, they measured that we're using about 80% of our energy up if we're in fear all day, that we're using all our energy up. We have about 20% left for the world. So we go to the bottom, we look at apathy, which is like depression, which I was in. Everyone's had the experience of that. That's using up about 95% of your energy. Move up to grief, a little bit less, right? It means you're suppressing it. Fear, and then higher than fear would be lust, right? I want this, I want that. Better, but still a lot of energy and lust. And we move up into anger, better than down here, but a lot of energy and anger. And then pride, which is, a lot of people operate in pride. I'm better than you, you're better than me, I'm judging people, you're resistant, you're rigid, you have a personality. So that's pride. Those are the lower emotions. So even in pride, we're using up maybe 60% of our energy in pride. So these are the lower emotions. And we move up to the higher ones, which is we try to get you to there, which is we call CAP, courageousness. I'm going to step forward. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to let go. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to communicate to my spouse what I really don't like, what I'm really upset about. I'm going to communicate, even though it's hard. Courageousness, much higher energetically. Things start to move. Call clients up, get things moving. And then much higher than that is acceptance. Really high state. I accept how I feel. I accept you. I accept the world the way it is. I'm living in acceptance. And then the highest is peace, where everything's perfect. It's serene. You're skiing. It's a perfect day. You're just being with the snow. You're just being wherever you are in the moment. That's the higher states. Lester Creative Release, he would say that, he goes, I hate to tell you, he said, but 90% of the population is living mostly in apathy, grief, and fear. That's where people live most of the time, if we're really honest. The doers of the world, the shakers, we move up into fear, lust, anger, pride, courageousness. And only a very small few really want to go and spend time, 1/10 of 1%, going into acceptance and peace, because it takes some work to get there. So that's really what we're working on. It's getting people to the higher state of CAP. And then we bring all the negativity. What are you afraid of? What worries you? What is it? What is your goal that you're not getting? So we get people into a high state, then we release any negative thought or feeling to let it go. So that's really the goal, is to bring up all this unconscious feelings and thoughts that are buried and to let them go, so you can be freer. So you don't have fear. Wow, you're a little more relaxed. You can have more. And the day, you shouldn't be exhausted every day. It's because if we're living in a higher state, we're not exhausted anymore.
It's funny about, you probably do pretty well with real estate agents with this releasing thing, because they understand what a cap is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'll tell you to say that. That's a good point. So I was working with a bunch of Keller Williams guys in Philly. They had me come to a class for about 30 or 40 men and women. And the topic was prospecting, right? So cold calling. People don't want to cold call, right? I used to do it. I didn't like it, but you'd have to do it if you wanted to get business, right? So is what we did. So when my teacher taught me, she'd say, write down 5 names you're going to call. And before you call them, see what comes up. So I do, I write down, Joe Smith. He never calls me back. I don't know if he's going to be a good client. I had these thoughts automatically come up. I called before. And she had me let them go. Okay, let that thought go. Let that thought go. And I got to a woman's name, and it was Ann. And I said, well, she hasn't called me back. I don't think she's going to do business. So I got to the point where I released, like, I'm okay. It's an attachment aversion. I'm okay. She never calls me back. I'm okay. She calls me back. I got to the point where I'm really okay either way. And I'm sending her approval that I can love her no matter what she does. So I was giving off the energy of love. So this is a true story. So I had to see this woman in 6 months. I just released it. I'm sitting in an office. Phone rings. Oh, it's Ann on the phone. I'm like, okay. Ann, how are you? This is the woman that I was releasing on. She said, oh, yeah, I'm trying to call you back. I broke my leg. I was in the hospital. Now I'm ready to give you all my business. Come on over. So maybe there's something to this that's a little bit beyond what I can really imagine. But when we start putting out energy fields, and this is all over now with the internet and all the different people work on spiritual, that we start getting into a higher state, we start attracting things. Law of attraction. We attract things, or we're putting negative things, or we're pushing things away. So it's sort of one or the other. There's no in between. So the idea of releasing is to get to the high state and then work on your goals. So we'll work on, and then I'll show you a little example of letting go of a feeling. So with a goal, you have an attachment and an aversion. Attachment is, I want a relationship. I want a relationship. I want a really. Aversion is, the last 4 were bad. I don't want it. So you have that going all the time. I want it. I don't want it. I want her. I don't want her. Same with business. I want this big deal. I don't know if I want it. It could be tough to deal with. So we have both going on all the time. So we're pushing and pulling. So if you can let go of each of them, we do exercises on this, then you're freer to say, yes, this is what I want. So I was working with a real estate guy here in Philly, guy in our business group, Pat, and he was a commercial, buying and selling commercial building. So anyway, he was at my house and we're doing an exercise. I have a goal. I want to get this building. I'm like, okay, definitely in lust. I want it, right? You can tell people want it, right? They really, not always the best thing, right? Lusting, right? When you're young, you lust, but it doesn't always work out well. So I said, okay. So I work with him. What's the feeling? I want it. I got him to let go. So I said, can you just let go of having to have this deal? I work with him. And he goes, yeah. Can you let go of wanting to control? We work on 3 things: wanting to control the situation, wanting to feel safe, and wanting approval. So we worked on this. And he finally said, I'm okay if I don't get it. I'm okay if I do get it. I said, from that quiet state, what do you choose to do? He says, I'm not going to go for it. I'm bidding way too high. Intuitively, he said, it's too high. He just came up with it. I said, I didn't tell him to do it. So I said, okay. So he said, I'm going to withdraw my bid. I said, okay, good. I saw him 3 months later out in Colorado at a meeting. We're at a meeting, he raises his hand. He said, I want to share a story I got a gain from being in this group. He said, he goes, I was working with Jeff a couple months ago, and I let this deal go. 3 months later, this guy calls me back, the seller, and said, somebody else is going to buy it, but that fell through. Do you want to make an offer? He goes, sure. He goes, what do you want to offer? He goes, $750. He goes, I'll take it. It was going to build $950. Yeah. So it came back to him. And then somebody yelled out, what was Jeff's cut in the deal? What did I said? About 10% of that, But he was saying that freedom of letting go, and it came back to him in spades because he thought it was definitely too high. So that's an example of wanting it, not wanting it. And then if you're not attached, we all know if we're not attached to things, then we're in a better place. We don't have to have the deal. Pattern from business. I don't have to have this deal. I like this deal. If it doesn't work out, I'm okay. There's more power in that. In relationships, in business. But how do you do that emotionally? Easy to say that. How do you do that emotionally when I could use the money. I really want the money, or I really want to be with her. She's beautiful. Or him, he's what I really want. how do you let go of that so you can actually be maybe more straightforward, less manipulative, and more intuitive? So that's really one of the things we work on, is getting to the point where you're quiet, and then you can choose, this is what there is to do. Yeah. So
Do you think you've reached, oh shoot, that's making a lot of noise, isn't it? Do you think you've reached acceptance and peace? Is it something where you get there and you stay there, or you're always releasing and it's like in
I
and out?
think, I haven't reached the highest state. Things happen to me, and I go up and down, but I don't stay stuck as long.
Mm-hmm.
In a couple hours, sometimes a day, something's really bad going on, maybe longer, but I don't stay stuck as long with all that energy. I'm able to know. I know how to let it go. I know how to. It becomes a practice that's more innate. Here it comes, all this fear. Let's let it go. On the ski slope, let's let it go. Let's feel it. And the same with pain. It's very effective with pain and illness.
Mm-hmm.
I work with several people. So, to give you an example, let's do a little release on this. Is there anything now that you have any discomfort with, either one of you, your body? Any body pain right now? Any discomfort?
No.
My neck is like I have a little bit of a headache in the back of my head.
Okay, let's work on that. Okay, good.
All right.
So everybody can do this. Anybody listening is going to pick something, and they use this process on yourself and see if it works. Okay, good. So right now, just close your eyes and go into the feeling in your neck. And can you see that you don't like it when you have pain in your neck?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't like pain in the neck.
Yeah, so does not like it, the pain in the neck. I'm not talking about Pat now, I'm talking about your neck. I know you love them. They can be a pain in the neck, I know.
Totally.
This is a good exercise for that too. You love him any way he is. So go into the neck. And can you see that does not liking the pain in the neck help it go?
No.
Good. So you're willing to try it a different way?
Yes.
Good. So right now, can you just go into the neck? And can you say yes to the feeling in your neck? Say yes to it.
Yes.
And yes some more.
Yes.
And yes some more.
Yes.
And yes even more.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And even more. And then open the window in front of that area and let all the energy flow out. And more. And even more. What are you experiencing now?
Less pain in the neck.
Okay, good. So 0 to 10, 10 being the highest pain, where would you be now?
Maybe like a 3.
Okay, good. So
2.
let's go a little further. So now dive into the neck again. And can you just let go of resisting the neck pain in any way? We work a lot on resistance and releasing, because we resist letting go of things because we're conditioned to hold on to pain and fear. We're conditioned. So we want to let go of this layer of resistance that we feel about pain or any kind of taking action. So bring up any resistance you have. Can you say yes to your resistance?
Yes.
Yes. And yes some more.
Mm-hmm.
And more. And even more, let all that resistance flow out. More. And even more. And can you love that resistance? Can you love it?
Yes.
Love it some more.
Yes.
And more. And even more. And what are you experiencing now?
Now it's not really pain. It's more like a tingling feeling.
All right, let's go all the way here. Let's go all the way. Gotta get a 0.
It's morphed.
So let's just go at the very end. This is a good little exercise. So just say now to the little tingle, I love you if you stay, and I love you if you go.
I love you if you stay, and I love you if you go.
I love you either way.
I love you either way.
I choose to let you go.
I choose to let you go.
Let it go. Okay, what's your experience now?
It's like magic.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you don't believe, like, even when I do this to people, I'm like, I see people that really a lot of pain. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work. Because see, I don't do it. Like I'm just a facilitator. So people have to participate. You have to be willing to do it. Otherwise it's not going to, I tell people, I'm not doing it. You're doing it because you're willing to engage it. I had a guy come to Sedona a year ago. We were in Sedona. Maybe like mid to late 80s. He came in like this. His wife's dragging him. I'm like, oh God, he doesn't want to be here.
He's all hunched over.
Yeah. And the head teacher said, Jeff, take him and work on him. I'm like, oh God, this is going to be interesting. And my mind saying, it ain't going to work, but I had to let go of that thought and say, you know, just a thought. And the thing with releasing is thinking, we call thinking is the lowest form because it's automatic, repetitive, involuntary thinking. Most of our thinking is automatic, repetitive, over and over again. They say it's 95% the same thoughts every day. We go into feeling, it's a much higher authority. That's there, we can feel it. So we let go of feeling, then we move into being, which is the highest state. So the idea is to go into the feelings, either directly or through wanting, and then go into the being. So with him, I sat down with him and he said, yeah, I've had like 8 operations and the doctor screwed up and my hand's numb. It's just terrible. Okay. I worked on his hand. His hand was numb. And I said, can you see that you're really angry? He said, yeah, I'm really angry at the doctors. So I worked on that. Can you let go of the anger? Can you see that you're hating your hand, you're disapproving of your hand? So I got him to start letting go of all the disapproval of the doctors, his hand, and setting love for maybe half an hour. He goes, it's feeling better. My hand's feeling okay. This is what I retreat. I said, go home tonight and just all night long, just give your hand love and approval. That's all I want you to do. Love and approval, love and approval. I guess, I opened the door. I think my hand's okay. I said, okay, well, now what? He goes, my back. Oh God, I got vertebrae. I'm like, okay. So he said, stand up because that's what it hurt. And I said, start the same thing. Let go of the fear. Worked on saying yes to the fear, yes to the fear, yes to the fear. So it just started to go, and then started to love his body. And he stood up straighter. And by the last couple of days, he was walking around the room dancing with his wife. And that was within over a couple of days. So he said, I think I'm going to get rid of all my doctors. I'm going to keep one doctor out of the 8, he said. And he forgave all the doctors. That was part of it. He was angry at the doctors. He was angry at everybody. So these emotions, when you're suppressing emotion, and a lot of doctors that study this feel that the energy work, that probably 95% of illnesses could be alleviated through letting go of old emotions. It's really a huge impact on our health, is having suppressed emotions. So that's really what we're trying to do, is regain our health, regain our well-being. And then the last thing we work on, not last thing, but nothing we work on, is having a picture in your mind. So we hold things in pictures, right? So it's like saying, people said, my goal is, I want to get rid of all this fat. I'm like, that's not a good picture, because we're thinking of fat. How about allow myself to have a healthy, well body? That's a different picture. So I went down to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, last summer with my girlfriend, my whole family, like a lot of people, 20 bodies. I went to the White Brothers Museum, right? I didn't want to go, and Kim was like, let's go. I said, okay, we'll go. But I went there, it was really cool, because Wilbur Wright, 1905, wrote, I think this is 3 years before he actually flew. He said, before I flew, I had the vision that I was going to fly. I had the thought that I was going to fly. I had the feeling of flying. I just had that way before I flew. He was aligned. That was his picture. He was holding it in mind. That's all I thought about, nothing else. And he said, 5 years later when I flew, it was the exact same experience. The exact same feeling. So it's easy to say that, but then what happens in our minds when we're going for a goal? It's never going to happen. I can't. It's not working. So if we don't release those pictures, we're stuck with the one we think about the most. They counterbalance each other. Like, this is my goal. I'm going to do it. I can do it. And all of a sudden, I can't. Everything comes in to stop us. So releasing is a way to sort of pull the gunk away, get clear, so we can move forward, getting clear. And same with that meditation, because meditation by itself is great, but this is a way, you actually meditate through letting go and releasing. So as you let go, you move into quiet and quiet and quiet from the release rather than just sitting there saying, let me be quiet, right? So, so yeah, and relationships are a key part. You know, your books, that were really a key part. Lester said the highest test of, we call it in releasing, imperturbability.
Yeah, there's
Used to be
actually
freedom,
there
and
was
now
a
we call it imperturbability, which means when no one and nothing bothers you. So he said the ultimate test is your home, people you live with. That's where the work is. And you probably in your book, right? That's the work. Can you totally give unconditional love to your partner? Wow, really? So that's the test. That's the ultimate test, is can we, and then, you know, with me, I've had a test of ups and downs, and can we work through those and be unconditionally loving? That's the real test of being connected, being in relationship, partnership.
well, a key element in that, I think, also is the kind of the insecurity that some of us develop in a relationship, where we feel dependent upon another person, and you have that fear of losing that person, which may drive some jealousy, which may drive inadequacy. You know what I mean? It could drive all kinds of things along.
Worthlessness.
So with the year that Sam and I were apart, we never would have got back together whether, if I didn't say the words to her, you know, I've got myself to a place where I can be happy either with or without you, which basically I decided to just release
Sexy.
her.
Yeah.
And,
Wow, that was the key
that was
for you getting that together.
That was by far the turning point for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely a big deal, because I felt like he was just so reliant on me, and I couldn't carry the weight, you know? He's a big guy.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention too is that like that very first exercise we did about releasing tension, I think a really easy way for me to draw a picture on how that feels in our lives is, as the day goes on and as we focus more on the is it the egg flap or the, you know, the lower
egg flap,
the lower energy suckers. It's almost like a rubber band where, oh, there's some anger, I'm stretching the rubber band, there's some this, and then throughout the day we might release the rubber band a little bit, but we never get back to maybe 50% of that tension. And so just by taking a minute and releasing and recognizing that you have tension, because when you first, you know, even now, I've done this with you quite a few times, but I was like, oh shit, there is a little tension there. And then all of a sudden you realize I've got that rubber band stretched out and I didn't even realize it. So
yeah, that's really good. And then the three things the most powerful way of releasing, we did Tuesday, we did the kinesthetic first, and then we did the second, which is sort of letting go of the fear and the pain. And then we also do one of letting go of figuring things out, which is a really good one, where the mind's always trying to figure things out. So we do a process where we let go of figuring things out to quiet the mind. And then the next big one is wanting approval, wanting control, wanting safety. So we walk around with a lot of disapproval and judgment. Most of us, it's an automatic thing. Walk down the street, I don't like that. I don't like that. So we're walking around, unless we release that, that's where we're walking around with. So we do a lot of work on letting go of disapproval of other people, letting go of disapproval. So simple, but when you do it, and then you give really to myself, first of all, let go of disapproval towards myself, and then give myself love and approval. That's the highest authority there is, because it's only me anyway. Even if I disapprove of you, it's in me. So it's all me anyway. So if I'm letting go of disapproval of you, I'm giving myself approval. I'm feeling better. Now I can give more to the world, give the world more love and approval. So that's one basic thing, is this love and approval. It takes some energy to let go of those thoughts, because if we are conditioned, don't do that to me, you know? What does it take to really let go of, beyond forgiveness, really letting go completely? We call it in releasing the Gandhi exercise, where Gandhi and Martin Luther King was willing to take all the heat, right, and be unconditionally loving. So we have an exercise where we do that, where we get unconditionally loving, and then people throw barbs at us, like, you did this, you did that, and be able to actually be with that, be with the criticism, be with the anger, in a way that doesn't penetrate you, which is ultimately being imperturbable, where you can just, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you being angry. I worked a lot on that myself because I grew up in a family that said, don't get angry. It's not nice.
Yeah.
Don't raise our voices here. Okay.
They said that in my family too, and then everybody yelled at each other after that.
I like
Really?
I like
Totally.
one of the things I like is when you catch yourself and you're in that, you know, that space where there's a need for approval and you didn't get it, so now that person is an asshole and then you're judging them, but then you let that go and then you get yourself to a place of acceptance, which is my favorite, and that is that you can now accept that that person's an asshole and it's okay.
Oh boy.
Well, it's okay. I have had people in business where I don't want to relate to them anymore.
Yeah.
And they did things I thought were really bad, right, in business. And I know you had too, Pat.
I haven't done
to
anything.
let go of all the anger. And do I want to be with them? No. They did things that were, you know, way off the charts.
Mhm.
But I'm letting go all the disapproval because it's a waste of my time. I mean, it's not a good feeling for me. I hope they're okay, but I don't want to be with them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be with them. There's a difference. You can give love and approval, and that's another thing I've learned. In business, I learned this lesson, and that is that real love and approval gives me the power to say no.
Mm-hmm.
So I can remember a business relationship where I was helping someone too much because they were friends. We might call that enabling because you want to help another.
Mhm.
Looks like love and approval. But when I was going through, I'm like, why did I do that? A couple years later, my teacher said, because you weren't loving yourself all the way. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Because if I love myself, I don't need his approval. I don't have to save him. Okay? I can say, no, I can't do that anymore. I love myself, but I'm saying, no, if you don't like me anymore, that's okay. That's love and approval. That's unconditionally loving to myself.
Yeah.
So people think, oh, if you're all loving, you got to be, no, you can say no and you can draw a boundary.
I
right?
love myself, and myself needs food, and you're not paying me, so.
Yeah. So it's so it's really it's a great technique, and it's what I like about it is I've done a lot of transformational work in the past, all kinds of courses, and you come out like, wow, but we all know now in this world you need to practice. You got to practice stuff.
Yeah.
You don't work out once a year. It doesn't work. You got to work out every day if you want it, right? I mean, so I get up. We have calls in the morning. I release with partners, and we have calls. So we have to be sort of really ingrained in changing your neurology so that we're moving the energy much faster all the time. And there's so much research in the world now about living at a higher frequency. So acceptance and peace are higher frequencies than apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, and pride. They're heavy frequencies. Look at the world today, right? In a way, remember, Les was saying that we're going from suppression, everything's into now expression. Now in the world, everything's blowing up, which is a little bit better. And the next level is to move a letter of actually cooperation. But now it's sort of blowing up a little bit. So
there's hope at the end of that blow up.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's saying that the stages of humanity are suppression, and then all of a sudden you're expressing all the anger, all the upsets coming out, right? And then beyond that is actually a better place to live. But, you know, we haven't got, he thought we'd get there. He died. He thought we'd get there in 2000, 2010, but we haven't gotten there yet. So maybe what's happening now is actually, believe it or not, moving us in the right direction. It's hard to see that, but it's better than it all being pushed down all the way. So
rather than pretending like it isn't there at all.
Like
Because
releasing
recognizing what the feelings are is really good.
Yeah, so for same with the feeling, I have people that don't want to feel something, and that's not going to help them. They can't even feel it. That's why I was when I couldn't feel it. To bring it, oh, I don't. If I feel that feeling, I'm going to die. People say that, right? If I feel that feeling, I'm going to die.
I felt like that with panic attacks before.
Yeah, I remember. So you don't
like
want to
before my TEDx talk when I was talking to you.
Yeah. So we all have things we get triggered about. So so the idea is to really go into it, and actually letting go of it is the most peaceful feeling. It's the lightest thing you can possibly feel.
So are you, tell us how we give all of our guests a chance to kind of shamelessly plug themselves, but are you accepting new people to work with right now?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah. I can. People can call me, email me, and I'd be glad to talk to them about the work I do. I do a little sample, and I do coach people one-on-one. There's other ways to access this I can let people know about. Sometimes people like the one-on-one because it's right to the point. That's what I did in the beginning, and then there's other classes, retreats beyond that. But yeah, I'm happy to help people, guide them into understanding it, and more importantly, experiencing it, and then seeing where they can take it to the next level.
and
So,
how would they reach you?
so they could email me at jdelone, Delone. It's a long one. This is my business at Velocity. The word Velocity Concepts plural.org. So jdelone, Delone at velocityconcepts.org is the best way to contact me, or you could call me. You can call me as well I'm in Philadelphia, East Coast, 610-764-7518. 610-764-7518. Text me, call me, and just say I saw you. Be glad to tell you more about what we're doing, and if I can be of any help, glad to do that. And it's just a wonderful practice. There's nothing else I enjoy more than helping people and releasing with people, and I've seen miracles. First, I was the miracle, because I was told that by a psychiatrist, if I went off these medications after a year and a half, 2 years, that there's like a 97% chance it would reoccur. And I said, I'm going to be the 3%. So far I've been the 3%. So I decided to see if I could heal through practices. And to me, that's the new way. That's the new medicine, I think, for this world, is healing ourselves. And there's so many ways to do it now that can be accessed. I'm not against modern medicine, but there's so many things we can do today to heal ourselves if we're willing to go for it, if we're willing to do the work that it takes to do it. It does take work, it does take focus to do that. So I'd be glad to talk to anyone. It's really great to be with you tonight. And
what a generous offer, Jeff. And I just can't say, I mean, even myself, I've experienced a lot of changes from the releasing, just not react. I mean, I think I just handle the feelings like you said. I don't think I even recognized how much I was holding on to them. And then when you finally do release them, you realize, just how much shit you're carrying around. And I just think it's changed kind of the way I am being in the world as I release my junk that comes up.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's really, it's really powerful too, these whole ideas of releasing the approval, and wanting approval, wanting safety, and wanting control, because those aren't real things you can control anyway, right? You can't control much.
So there's a big difference between wanting and having. It's a fine distinction. Wanting versus having. Letting go of wanting lets go of a lot of feelings. That's the key. Letting go of wanting, and you move into having something. It's easier to have than to want. But we think the wanting is going to get us there. But the wanting never stops. The wanting goes on. We're just human beings that want. So it never stops. So it can have people that have built millions and millions of dollars, and they're wanting better health, or they're wanting better life. I have clients like that. It doesn't matter. Yeah, right. They're making a couple million a year, but they have panic attacks. So they're not really having what they thought maybe the money would bring them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what most people find out, right?
Yeah.
To have it, but it doesn't mean most of those people I've experienced aren't in acceptance and peace. A lot of courageousness for sure, right? Business people, a lot of courageousness, a lot of pride, courageousness, but a lot of stuff down here, panic attacks, fear, anxiety, we're lusting. So they're bouncing around thinking that if the actual is big enough, then I'll be in acceptance and peace.
Yeah. If we make enough money, or if we get the right partner, or if something happens, then we'll reach acceptance and peace. And in my experience, it doesn't work like that. You have to work to get the acceptance and peace in yourself, regardless of what's happening around you, right?
It's an internal experience. It always is
internal work.
And I think what you two have gotten coming together again is what brought you together was that work that Pat did, I guess, and you did to do that, right? Mostly you. You're pretty honest.
I'm just kidding.
The guys always have to do more work. They say women are in higher consciousness than men. I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah, definitely.
They are.
I think so too.
Most of these workshops, they say some people say when the Senate's like 50% women, then we'll be able to solve all the problems. Had to get more women senators and more women running the show. I'm all for that.
You know what's funny about that is I don't think I don't think I don't want to say none of the women want to do it, but it's just a matter of trying to convince them to do it.
Well, we need women. We need women.
You know, the people who don't want the power are probably the ones that should be in power.
Yeah.
We need women that aren't trying to be men or trying to play the men's game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more compassionate. Yeah, so I think there's some of that now, and I think that's where we're moving is hopefully towards this higher state of consciousness. And they say that, every release, every time I let go, it affects the whole world. And there's been a lot of studies on big groups meditating and affecting crime going down. So this is real. This energy actually impacts each other.
Yeah.
And can change things dramatically. It's a fact now. It's a science fact. It's not like a woo-woo anymore. It really works. So
there it is.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to you, Jeff, for the work that you've done personally with me. And thank you for coming on our podcast to share it with me.
My pleasure. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Pat.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure. See ya.
Bye.